Good evening and welcome to Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. It is coming to you live from our studio here at Adesanwe Kanda in Accra. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Coming up this evening, former Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia and his wife Samira Bawumia and their entourage moved from Qatar to safety as tensions in the Middle East escalate. Meanwhile, more Ghanaians are calling for a speedy evacuation exercise.
I just want to come back home. Till now we can go out. We cannot go out. We can go to work. I just want the Ghana to assist me when I come back home. At least I can be doing something to be able to take care of my mom and my son.
And you heard the voice of one stranded Ghanaian in Bahrain, which is one of the countries receiving retaliatory bombing from Iran in the ongoing instability in the Middle East. Details of that in the bulletin. The Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Dr. John Abdullahi Janapo, says contingency strategies are being reviewed and strengthened to minimize any adverse effect stemming from the current geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. We'll tell you more. And news just in, the Ashaiman Member of Parliament, Dr. Ernest Nogbe, has invoked and the RTI request from the Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni. Bulletin, stay with us. It's a 1-hour bulletin coming your way, and we have business and sports at the tail end of it. Before that, let's get the news summaries with Christabel. Hello, Christabel.
Hi, Martin. We begin with the U.S. Embassy Ghana announcing the availability of more than 2,000 non-immigrant visa appointment slots over the next 2 weeks for prospective travelers. In a public notice, the embassy indicated that the new appointments are specifically for B1, B2 visa applicants. According to the mission, the additional slots are intended for individuals planning business trips, visiting family members, undertaking general tourism, or attending the upcoming FIFA World Cup. The National Petroleum Authority, NPA, has directed all oil marketing companies and LPG marketing companies to enforce uniform petroleum prices across their entire network of retail outlets nationwide, effectively ending price variations at selected stations. The directive, which takes effect from March 16, 2026, requires operators to sell petroleum products at the same approved ex-pump price at all their outlets in line with the regulator's pricing framework. The National Petroleum Authority, NPA, has directed this directive takes effect March 16, 2026, and it requires all operators to sell petroleum products at the same prices. Now, the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit DOVSU Circuit Court has granted 33-year-old Latifa Salifu, a trader who allegedly stole a 4-day-old baby at the Mamprobi Polyclinic, bail in the sum of 200,000 Ghana cedis with two sureties, one of whom must be justified with a landed property valued at not less than 150,000 Ghana cedis. During proceedings on Wednesday, March 4, the prosecution, led by Chief Inspector Poku Enieje, informed the court that the police had completed their investigations and had filed an amended charge sheet. Finally, Minister for Foreign Affairs Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has announced plans to commission celebrated Ghanaian artists to showcase their works at the country's embassies and high commissions across the world. The minister made the disclosure following a courtesy visit by renowned visual artist and architect Sharon Dedepadi, who recently achieved a Guinness World Record for the largest leaf print painting. And this is on our website, 3news.com. Martin, over to you.
Thank you very much, Christabel, for the news summaries. Let's delve into the details. And many of you on social media may have realized that there's news making the rounds about former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his wife, who were stranded in the Middle Eastern war, have been evacuated to safety. And the former Vice President and his wife, together with members of their entourage, have been safely relocated from Qatar after being stranded amid the escalating tensions in the Middle East. Sources indicate that the move was carried out under the directive of the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who, acting on government instructions, directed Ghanaian embassies in the region to take immediate steps to secure their safety and coordinate travel arrangements. According to sources, the missions worked closely with host authorities to facilitate their swift transfer to a secure location. While specific operational details remain confidential, officials describe the evacuation as smooth, well-organized, and carefully coordinated. And information we have also got just from the camp of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia indicates that following the publications in the media that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his wife have been evacuated from Qatar, we have received concerns about the safety of the couple. Accordingly, we say as follows. 1. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his wife, Hajia Samira, are both fine and safe. The couple left Doha in Qatar this morning for Saudi Arabia to perform Umrah, an essential Islamic practice. The couple would commence their Umrah on Thursday, the 5th of March 2026, and then leave Saudi Arabia on Saturday, the 7th of March 2026. And this is signed by Akbar Khomeini, who is the special aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So that's just to give further perspective and clarity on the news about the evacuation to safety of former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And you can tell, or you'd recall, that in the last few days, or the last 5 days specifically, there have been increasing tensions between Israel, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and a number of the countries in the Gulf region have seen some very unstable tensions. So a lot of flights have been grounded. A number of people, in excess of hundreds of thousands, have been stranded because flights have been cancelled. And if you look at the important connecting route of the UAE in terms of air travel, a lot of the aircraft being grounded makes it even more difficult for people to travel around or move through that area. So the couple, that is the former vice president and his wife, were among a number of Ghanaians who have found themselves in the eye of the storm. Unfortunately, following diplomatic conversations, they have been moved safely to a different location. And from what the aide has just told us via this message, they are in Saudi Arabia to perform the Umrah, which is a very important step in the Islamic religion. So they are looking forward to performing that, and then by Saturday or by the weekend they should be heading back to the country. Let's speak now to Alhaji Mohammed Amin, who has joined us on the phone for a quick chat. Honorable, good evening and thank you for your time.
Good evening, Martin.
Right. We know that you have also been monitoring quite closely the developments in the Middle East, and the safety of Ghanaians come as a priority to, I'm sure, the role that you are expected to play. What can you tell us generally is the situation from where you are observing it from?
Very well. Martin, thanks so much for having me. You've said it all. And the Pilgrims Affairs Office of Ghana, when it all started, we also make sure that we observe, we are monitoring, and we've also communicated with the Saudi government, who have also decided to establish an effective communication network with all interested parties when it comes to Hajj 2026. So they've really informed all of us that we should calm down, we should just keep our fingers crossed and pray over what is happening, and then we hope the right things will be done. So far, I don't think that there is anything to worry about. It is our prayer that it will end very soon, because the main Hajj will kickstart on the, in May 19th thereabout. But before that, airlifting of prospective pilgrims and all the preparation must be done earlier before the 19th of May. So, Martin, we are praying that before that time, things will be done and done well. So far, I don't think that there is any official notification or statement from the Saudi government to indicate to the Pilgrims Affairs Office of Ghana that, look, we need to halt on the processes. We need to halt on what we are doing currently regards to the medical screening of all potential pilgrims, because we've started in the Upper East region, that is Bako and Bogatanga. We'll move to Wa, then move to Tamale, and then later move to Kumasi. We are currently in Accra, and tomorrow is the last day for Accra, and then we are planning to move to Tamale for 2-day mop-up. That is Saturday and Sunday. So, Martin, I can assure you, your viewers and listeners, that so far, we have not heard anything about halting or maybe suspending Hajj 2026.
Grateful that you could give us those details, but you certainly are in contact with your partners in Saudi Arabia, who are more or less the hosts of the pilgrimage exercise. What are they telling you about whether or not the current tension is affecting their organization? Is there any concern, anything of concern?
No, the only thing that we read from our platforms is about the Umrah. Umrah, this is the time that a lot of Muslims will want to be in Saudi Arabia for the Umrah. So most of them are there. Some are even planning to move out of their countries to Umrah, including Ghana. And that was why in the days to come, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Ablakwa, he came out with a very strategic and very informative information that he is appealing to Ghanaians who are planning to travel to Saudi for the Umrah to pause, to decide not to go because of the situation. Because he's even trying to make sure that some of the Ghanaians who are within that, fulcrum or within that catchment area are evacuated back home. So that was the point that he made. But a lot of people misconstrued what he said and wanted to turn that into Hajj. He was talking about the Umrah. So yes, the information we've gathered from our partners in Saudi Arabia, Martin, they were just trying to talk about the Umrah. So as we speak now, they came out with some kind of program running order that for now they will allow this time for those interested to come to Saudi for the Umrah. This is the day for the last flight. This is the day that everybody should come and perform the Umrah, and this is the last day for everybody to leave Saudi Arabia, as it were. So now they have done that, but officially they have not really written to the Pilgrims Affairs Office of Ghana, because we are dealing with purely Hajj affairs, Hajj operations. But there are some countries that double the two. They try to operate both the Umrah and the Hajj. So these are the countries that officially they will give them the information on the Umrah. But when it comes to Ghana, we are really focusing on Hajj pilgrimage, not the Umrah.
Right. And I'm happy that you actually have brought this up. So just for purposes of education, and then again to give further clarity to the fact that it is not the Hajj that the minister was talking about, but the Umrah, help us understand what is the difference and how come this one is being performed now and then the Hajj will be later in the year?
No, the Umrah is more or less like, if you want to compare the two, Umrah is more or less like, I don't know how to describe it. It's the shortest of Hajj. Hajj is the main focal point. It's part of the 5 pillars of Islam. But Umrah is more or less like a preamble. It's more or less like an exercise that one can just go just to get himself or herself ready for the main event, that which is Hajj. Okay. So that one, every single year, when it comes to Ramadan, there are majority of Muslims who even go to perform, they are everything there when it comes to the fasting, when it comes to the Umrah. And the Umrah, it is really an exercise that every Muslim can decide to go and perform it, not during Hajj time. But the Hajj is a seasonal, it's a period that you have to go and perform it once in a while, maybe in your lifetime. But we still have Muslims who have the financial muscle who can go more than 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But the Umrah, it has not any specification. Okay. The Umrah, you can decide to even go and do the Umrah more than 100 times, depending on your financial muscle. So, Martin, there are differences between the Umrah and the Hajj. The Hajj is part of the 5 pillars of Islam. But Umrah is just more or less like something that one can decide to do it without any compulsion or any mandatory aspects.
Right. I'm grateful for the education as well. And finally, before you leave us, kindly reiterate again that there are preparations ongoing for the Hajj. What are the key information that people who want to perform it need to know? Kindly run us through that.
No, Martin, for this year, one good thing about the whole thing is that the closure for fare payments came very, very early. And then we got to the time that passports were submitted on time, even though it was on notice, but people presented their passports. Now we are at a point that is very critical. It's a new system that the Saudi government have introduced, that is medical screening. So we've started, as I indicated, we've gone through all the specific regions, talking about Upper East, Upper West, Northern and Ashanti region. We are currently in Greater Accra. We are winding up tomorrow. So all that we can say via our network is to remind Ghanaians, those who have paid, those who also have a special arrangement, quote-unquote, protocol, should make sure that they have to move to all the centers to go through the medical screening. Because according to the Saudi government, if you don't have medical certificate, you aren't going to go through the visa processes and you aren't going to give you any visa, as it were. So we are doing the mop-up in Tamale. So we are urging all prospective pilgrims in the Upper East, in the Upper West, and the Northern region to all move to the center that we did the last time. If they couldn't make it the last time, this is an opportunity for them to get there and go through the process. Martin, let me also assure them that some of them feel quite a bit skeptical about bringing themselves before the medical team. The medical team would make sure that they will maintain your privacy and confidentiality. Your medical report they will not let out your medical report. They will maintain it because, Martin, there are some chronic diseases that the Saudi government have raised that we've identified. And there are individuals that may have some ailment, Martin. The medical team are ready to identify it. Maybe you just need some medication a week or two before the main event for the Hajj pilgrimage. So we are urging them. There is no fear. Just come. It's for your own sake, for us to be able to identify those who are with the, blood pressure, those who are with the diabetes, those who are with this or that, so that the medical team will know how to arrange you right from Ghana here to Saudi Arabia. When it comes to your medication, they know where you are and know how to take good care of you. So this is the situation. And for now, everything is moving on smoothly. There is nothing to worry about. We are just praying that what is happening between Iran, America, and then Israel will end very soon, Martin.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for talking to us. And maybe we need to catch up. It's been a while since our days at Choice FM.
Very well, Martin. I also watch you every single day, and I'm looking forward to see you going to Hajj. When you return back, they'll call you Al-Hajj Martin.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best, Alhaji.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Martin.
And Alhaji Mohammed Amin Lamte Hussein, Director of Communications at the for Pilgrims Affairs Office of Ghana, and was just walking us through some of the expectations and how they are in touch with their Saudi Arabian counterparts. You'd know that later in the year, the Hajj exercise is expected to happen in Saudi Arabia. So preparations are already underway. And as he indicated, today is the last day, or we are in the very latter part of the preparation. So if you are in readiness to perform the Hajj this year, I'm sure that then you probably must have completed the process by now. But if not, the directorate is available to assist in any way possible so that they can make this year a success as well for our Muslim brothers and sisters. And still on the issues of the development in the Middle East, let's just give you other perspectives coming in, because we know that a number of Ghanaians who are already in one of the countries or many of the countries are currently stranded, and you've been following government communication asking people to move to safety or stay indoors if possible, and then some contact numbers have been given in case you are stranded in any part of the Middle East, especially in countries like Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, in Bahrain, even in Iran. Yesterday we got information from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that all of Ghana's mission members or officials working for the ministry in Iran have been moved or evacuated to safety. So in case you are still there or you know anybody there, just go to the website of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There are contact numbers there that you can share with them so they can all call in to be given the assistance needed. And again, just by way of reiteration, yes, the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and his wife are safe, and it comes on the back of stories making rounds in the media that they were given some assistance and evacuated to safety. Now they are headed to Saudi Arabia, where they are expected to perform the Umrah, and then later by weekend, they should be back in the jurisdiction. So it's a very fast-paced development within the Middle East, but trust us to keep you posted on all the developments. Meanwhile, thousands of foreign nationals remain stranded in conflict-hit parts of the Middle East as the United States, Israel, and Iran enter a fifth day of intense fighting, with missile exchanges causing extensive damage. Reports point to frantic efforts by foreigners to leave countries like the UAE, Bahrain, and Qatar, all of which have come under attack. Authorities in the UAE on Tuesday, for instance, advised travelers not to make new travel arrangements unless directly contacted by their airlines. The caution followed the partial reopening of airports on Monday after closures across Dubai and other Gulf cities from Saturday, the 28th of February, due to the escalation of hostilities. Dubai-based Emiratis has also resumed limited flights, prioritizing early bookings with Etihad Airlines, and they say it will restart operations on Wednesday, which is today. Flight tracking platform Flight Trader 24 shows at least 2 Emirati flights from Dubai landing in Mumbai in India and Chennai on Tuesday. But no flights have actually come to Accra, and especially those that are listed and expected to come to Accra, none has entered our jurisdiction yet. Meanwhile, many Ghanaians in the affected countries are urging government to initiate evacuation efforts or to expedite efforts at helping evacuate them. One such individual is Jifa. She spoke to us from Bahrain, and she is making a passionate appeal and asking for help that the state will assist. So let's listen to her story as she narrated it to us earlier.
I am here today. I want to plead that if you can talk to 1 or 2 people in Ghana, if they can assist some of us here, we want to come back home. Me in particular, I'm just tired. I just want to come back home. I just want to come back home. Till now, we can go out. We cannot go out. We can go to work. I just want the Ghana to assist me when I come back home. At least I can be doing something to be able to take care of my mom and my son. If I come back home right now empty-handed, I don't have anything. I want the Ghana to assist me. I'm just tired. I need help. I'm just tired. I need help. Please. And I believe other people also are here who really want to go back home, because one lady also called me. He said, "What are you doing? Are you willing to go home?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm ready. I'm tired. I want to go home, but I don't have anything right now. I don't have anything. I'm from a poor background. My mom I don't have family that will even support me, because they all depend on me over here. My mom is staying with someone, same as my son also. I need a Ghanaian. The Ghana people should help us, please. We need your support. I believe it's not just only me. I believe it's not just only me when I come back home. I think people are out there who want to go home."
And so that's the voice of a lady, we'll just call her Jifa. She is in Bahrain and is asking for some assistance to at least help her get out of harm's way. And her concern largely is on the back of the fact that a U.S. embassy very close to where she lives in Bahrain was bombed earlier last night, or late last night, I should say. So it has really put her, under the cosh. She's very scared and is praying for assistance. So we have also tried to work our sources to see whether the ministries, Ghana's missions and embassies within the Middle East can help her in terms of evacuation. We would update you on all of these as and when we do get them. This is 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition. Let's turn our attention to energy matters now. The Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Dr. John Abdullahi Janapo, has revealed that contingency strategies are being reviewed and strengthened to minimize any adverse effect stemming from the current geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. The minister directed the NPA as the downstream sector regulator to intensify market surveillance and maintain close coordination with industry players to ensure any anticipated supply disruptions are mitigated swiftly and effectively. He further urged all sector agencies to maintain adequate strategic fuel stocks, enhance monitoring and international development, and also ensure stable nationwide distribution. Government has assured the public of its full commitment to protecting Ghana's energy supply security, emphasizing that all necessary measures are being explored to ensure sustained and available fuel and to reduce undue hardship on consumers. Richmond Roxon Esquire is the spokesperson for the Energy Ministry. He's joined us for a conversation on this. Richmond, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening, Martin, and thank you for the opportunity, and a very good evening to your cherished listeners as well.
Right. Almost all of us, like you included, I'm sure, clear monitoring the development in the Middle East. So what is Ghana's preparation? The minister has also spoken about it, but what are some of the plans that are expected to be rolled out as we continue to monitor what's happening in the Middle East?
Let me thank you for the opportunity once again. Yes, in the last couple of days, all of us have been concerned looking at the development in the Middle East. We all know that the Middle East is a very strategic area when it comes to oil production and refinery. So even though as a country we don't import most of our petroleum products from there, that area has a significant impact and is able to, in one way or the other, control or affect what happens on the international global oil market. And so in the last few days, the Honorable Minister has been engaging petroleum sector stakeholders. And yesterday he called a high-level meeting which involved GNPC, Thermal Oil Refinery, Post Energies, oil marketing companies, bulk distribution companies. We also had some private companies also form part. So the first thing was, as a country, how do we secure wealth for everyone? In other words, when it comes to our fuel security, how do we ensure that what is happening in the Middle East does not have adverse effects in Ghana? And so we reviewed the stock levels that we have in country currently for PMS and AGU, what we normally call diesel and petrol. We have over 350 million liters of both products, which should take us about 5 to 6 weeks. Beyond that, we have about 4 or 5 vessels at anchorage. When you say anchorage, that means they are ready to berth and discharge, which will be around 200,000 metric tons of what we have. Aside that, we also have some vessels that are in safe waters. When you say safe waters, it means that they are now going to set off from wherever they are. They are very close to our waters. And in the next couple of days, they should be here. And so if you put all that together, I can confidently assure the people of Ghana that our fuel security is intact. We don't expect any shortage of fuels at the pump, and that every Ghanaian should rest assured that we should be able to go about our business as it's always been.
Right, and we also do know that there is uncertainty about when this escalating tensions would end. What kind of assurance can the ministry give the country regarding our stock We've heard the NPA earlier this week talk about the fact that we have an average of 5 weeks of fuel, so we have nothing to be concerned about, and hopefully the war shouldn't extend to that time. But just in case it does, are we looking at other sources of procuring this vital liquid?
Absolutely. If you look at the data that I have been put up, we are looking at what we have beyond even the 5 weeks. What we have at Anchorage, we take as a further 3 to 4 weeks, and then what we have in our field waters. And so, largely, we are okay. If extend beyond that, we have local refineries that are also refining product. We know that the Riftema oil refinery is back on its feet now. We also have Stensio that is also refining. And as the minister said, we have contingency measures that we've also put in place. So depending on what the issue is and as the review goes, we'll activate those contingency measures. But I can assure the people of Ghana that there won't be any fuel shortage within the period, and that we can go about our normal business.
And finally, how is the ministry coordinating with industry stakeholders? You mentioned that the minister has been engaging them. What were some of the highlights they raised for the minister, and what were the responses that we got from the minister?
That's for the coordination. If you have the BIDEX there, if you have the OMCs there, you have some leading private sector participation in the regulator there, should tell you that there's been a lot of engagement. The minister has directed the MPA as a regulator to take charge from that. And so it will keep engaging both private sector and the public sector to ensure that the coordination is top-notch. At this point in time, monitoring is very, very key. And that is why he has encouraged all of them that they should ensure that we have adequate storage. In fact, if you go to the Sema Enclave, almost all the storage facilities that we have are full. Some will be for private sector, some will be for public sector. And so the engagement is very high. The number of issues that came up at this point, it will be too early to put that out. But I'm sure that as when we move on, some of these issues will be dealt with. But for now, they have the assurances. And then the private sector is quite confident in the plan government has put in place. All
right, Richmond, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you too for your time.
And Richmond Roxon is the spokesperson for the Energy and Green Transition Ministry, reiterating the assurance from the minister of the minister in charge of the sector that we really have nothing to worry about, because plans are afoot to ensure that in case the war and the instability in the Middle East continues, we will still be safe as a country in terms of oil resources and reserves that we need to move about largely, and then also for machinery, etc. We're moving away from the Middle East and its attendant issues. Let's now go to Parliament, because the Member of Parliament for Ashaiman, Dr. Ernest Nogbe, has invoked the right to information and a request for the Chief Justice, Paul Bafo-Boni, to come and tell the House why they are unable to, or they did not find any reason in removing the EC chair following the petitions that were submitted to the EC chair. So we'll try and get some perspective from him. And we know that many people have thought that following the submission of petitions to the president and for the president to also, on the back of the Constitution, forward that to the Chief of Staff, the Chief Justice, they were expecting, something otherwise than what the Chief Justice finally reported back to the president on, which was that no prima facie case had been established to remove the EC chair and her two deputies. But that does not seem to have settled the concerns being raised. And Dr. Ernest Nogbe is one such individual who is asking for more in terms of responses. Doc, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening to your listeners and to yourself.
Right, we are told that you have triggered an RTI request for the Chief Justice to, what exactly is it you want? That he should come and give further reasoning why the petitions did not stick?
Well, good evening once again. Exactly so. The petition was between the petitioners the president, and then the Chief Justice. And most Ghanaians want to know exactly what transpired at the committee level after the president referred the matter to the CJ. Again, most Ghanaians have not really seen the details of the petitions to the effect that they were all dismissed. And so, based on those sentiments, I decided to apply to the Chief Justice, requesting for the petitions as submitted to him by the President, and again, the details of the decision that was made on those petitions for a dismissal, just for our curiosity.
Right, but okay, so that is why you are using the RTI route. But is it constitutionally permissible that a petition which went to the president and from the president to the Chief Justice, details of it now be made public, although the finality or a final decision has been arrived at?
Don't forget Article 21 of the Constitution and then Section 18 of the RTI Act, which activated Article 21. Everybody has the legitimacy to request for any document from any courtesy, except that those that are being exempted under the Right to Information Act. And so this is the right route to take, to request for this document from the Chief Justice, because he has advised the President as well to that effect that there's no prima facie against these very important people, personalities. And so I think it's the best route to be taken to get this thing. And don't forget that if you are a student, you are going to write exam. You will need to get the examiner's reports, the previous questions, and then look at the examiner's report. And based on that, you'll be able to answer your questions very well. So basically, I have a mandate, a constitutional duty to make sure that the things are done well.
Right. And is it also fair to assume that you and several other Ghanaians who were surprised or disappointed in the final outcome in the report of the Chief Justice, should we assume that you were sure something, one of the accusations or captured in the petition should at least stick for the EC chair and her deputies to be removed, and so because that did not happen, you really want to get to the bottom of it?
Well, it's a document. A petition is a document that was sent to the Chief Justice, which I have no clue about. So I cannot say that probably there's a particular provision or section or paragraph in this thing that might have gone against the very people concerned. But be it as it may, don't forget some 5-6 years ago, I personally took the Electoral Commission to the High Court under some procurement breaches, and I have those judgments. The judgment went in favor of myself, and I have those judgments. So I have every right to look into the matter very well and see exactly what might have necessitated the dismissal of those petitions. And if need be, I will have to put in my own petition as well.
Right, and that was actually going to be my final question, that looking at the fact that there seemed to have been some closure on this subject, would you be willing to re-petition the president to look into the matter again, probably with new evidence?
Well, exactly my point, as I elucidated earlier, that I took the Electoral Commission to the High Court, which I won favorably, on the backdrop of some procurement breaches. And so basically, you must know that if you breach the procurement law, and the court has ruled in that favor that you were supposed to provide certain documents to me, procurement irregularities are serious crimes under this dispensation. So definitely, maybe a new petition might have gone to the president once again for Article 146 to be invoked.
Okay. Well, we look forward to see how all of this will unfold in the coming days. Doc, thank you for your time.
Thank you, my brother.
And Dr. Ernest Nogbe is the Member of Parliament for the Ashaiman constituency, and was just giving us his thoughts on his decision to trigger an RTI request for the Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni to give details of why the petitions that were sent to the president seeking the removal of the EC chair and her two deputies did not find favor in the investigations that the Chief Justice conducted. And he says they want the fine details of the report. And then also, more importantly, if they still feel strongly about this, they may re-petition the president for the removal of the EC chair, and I will see what the strategy will be going forward. That is, if they actually do re-petition the president asking for Jean Mensah and her two deputies to be removed from office. We're staying with the issues of the Electoral Commission. Yesterday, there was a by-election in the Ayawaso East constituency, and the Electoral Commission has dismissed claims by sections of the public of delays in announcing the results, explaining that the law requires a manual collation process and reconciliation with digitally captured data to ensure accuracy. The EC has come under criticism over delayed announcement of the results by the following the by-election in the Ayawaso East constituency. The Commission says it is viewing or reviewing the process and may consider reforms, including secure electronic transmission to speed up future declaration without compromising credibility. Fred Tete is Deputy Director of Research at the Electoral Commission. He spoke earlier with my colleague Noble Crosby Annan.
The election was smooth, very peaceful and seamless. And I'll take the opportunity to commend the people of Ayawaso East and the media, security, and everybody that gets involved in the elections, making it peaceful and successful.
And now, how would you respond to public commendation regarding the peaceful nature of the polls? Clearly, the Electoral Commission played a major part in ensuring that the entire process was smooth and uneventful.
Yes, I think this is something that we've been doing over the period. You can attest to what happened in Klapitia and then regarding the previous by-elections before this. I think the lessons were taken from 2024, the general elections, what we did. In terms of management of elections, the Commission has been doing very, very well, and will continue to do that because that's our mandate. Let me touch on what you said regarding the cause in terms of the delay. I don't see it as a delay, but it sounds like people were quite impatient as to hear the results. What happened was, usually when you finish the collation process, the law says you should use the manual collation. The manual collation is physical entry of the figures from 1A, which we've been calling the pin sheet, okay, onto the Form 1C, which is the collation sheet. Okay, so when you finish, you have to make sure that you reconcile what you've done, the manual and then the digital capturing of the data. So that's what we were trying to do, that people were seeing it as a delay in the process. But I think the cardinal thing looking for is the accuracy of the vertical and then the horizontal entries of the data.
True.
And that's what we're doing.
It's important that we are accurate with the figures that we write and we transmit. But there should be a way where we can be quicker, but still maintaining the same levels of accuracy or even improve the levels of accuracy. We don't need to sacrifice one for the other, do we?
Yes, I understand you. And these are some of the things that we are looking at in terms of the benchmarks that we set evaluating the polls. So apart from the location, the polling station setup, the logistics, performance of officials, and even the PVDs, we are as well looking at that as well in terms of the results capturing and then declaration. So it's something that we're looking at.
Will it be something that would have to look at amending our law so that we look at electronic transfers and putting in place measures to ensure that while we try to do it electronically, we secure it as well? Maybe that will help reduce the number of hours we take to manually transfer the results?
And it's something that we also as stakeholders, we have to look at various levels, at the IPAC levels, and then in terms of the commission and then the lawmakers. So when you look at what we did yesterday, you realize that the electronic display projection of the figures came earlier. We're able to get the figures and people were able to identify who is the winner, virtually the outcome of the elections. But the key thing is, like you're saying, the law says manual. And you have to put the one against the other. You cannot, going into proper elections, you cannot go fully digital, okay? In case something happens to our system, what happens? So it's just a matter of speeding up the manual process as well. So these are things that we're going to look at.
And it brings me to my last question on what other measures the Commission is putting in place when...
Yes, like I said, we've taken lessons from what happened, and we're going to look at it, going to evaluate it, and then see how we can expedite the process going forward.
And you heard the voice of Fred Tete, who is Deputy Director of Research at the Electoral Commission, speaking to Noble Crosby. And this is 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition. Time now for the latest in the world of business.
Business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also coming up tonight, Ghana's inflation drops to 3.3% in February 2026, lowest since 2021 CPI rebasing, marking 14th straight monthly decline. This story and others lined up for you. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Ghana's year-on-year inflation rate has declined further to 3.3% in February 2026, representing the 14th consecutive monthly decline and the lowest level recorded since the 2021 rebasing of the Consumer Price Index by the Ghana Statistical Service. There is more in the following 3 business news desk report. The Consumer Price Index for February stood at 264.4, up from 255.9 in the same month last year, reflecting a 3.3% rise in the general price level over the 12-month period. On a month-on-month basis, inflation was 0.8%, indicating a marginal increase in prices between January and February this year. Food and non-alcoholic beverages inflation slowed sharply to 2.4%, while non-food inflation edged up slightly to 4%. Locally produced items recorded inflation of 4.5%, while imported items saw a significant slowdown to just 0.6%. Regionally, the Savannah region recorded the lowest inflation rate at negative 5.6%, while the Northeast region posted the highest at 8.9%. The sustained decline in inflation reinforces signs of easing price pressures and strengthens expectations of continued macroeconomic stabilization. And that was a 3 business news desk report. Before we go, the Ghana reference rate has recorded one of its steepest declines in recent years, dropping to 11.71% for March 2026 from 14.58% in February. This follows a sharp fall in treasury bill rates and a marginal easing in the interbank market, a development that could significantly reduce borrowing costs for businesses and households in the coming weeks. The decline is largely attributed to a significant fall in treasury bill rates into the single-digit range, coupled with a marginal reduction in the interbank market rate. Industry players say The easing in treasury bill yields reflects government's fiscal consolidation efforts, which have curtailed domestic borrowing as well as excess liquidity within the banking sector. With average lending rates currently hovering around 22%, the latest benchmark reduction could push borrowing costs down to about 19%, depending on a customer's risk profile and negotiations with banks. And that brings us to the end of the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Andrew Sefai is here for sports. Please stay.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on 3FM 92.7 with me, Andrew Sefa Bamfo. South Africa has declared its readiness to host the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations should Morocco step aside. With just 2 weeks before kickoff, uncertainty continues to surround the tournament, raising concerns among teams, media and stakeholders. My colleague Akosi Eje has more details in the following report.
Uncertainty continues to cloud the 2026 edition of the Women's African Cup of Nations. With the tournament scheduled to kick off on March 17, 2026, silence from organizers over key logistical details has left participating nations and media scrambling for clarity. The opening match is set to see Morocco face Kenya at the Moulay El Hassan Stadium in Rabat, but with just 2 weeks to go, crucial operational information remains outstanding. The situation has now drawn a firm response from South Africa's Minister of Sport, Gayton McKenzie, who says the country is ready to step in if Morocco does not proceed with hosting duties.
But if they are not ready, we want to tell them we are not a country with no stadiums. We are not a country with no infrastructure. We as South Africa will never be held hostage by countries that have less than what we have. We will not allow women's football to be. How in this day and age people are scared to say it. I'm not scared to say it. If Morocco is not going to host it, South Africa, as the Deputy Minister said, we are standing ready.
This year's WAFCON is not only Africa's premier women's football event for the historic 16 participating countries, but it will serve also as a 2027 Women's World Cup qualifier. Any disruption could have significant implications for teams preparing for the global competition. As a result, 2022 WAFCON winner and coach of South Africa's senior women's national team, Desiree Ellis, is frustrated with the lack of information flow. She bemoans the treatment and handling of women's football on the continent.
Someone is listening if they can just give us a yes or a no. Because after the 7th, it becomes very difficult because the other dates belong to the tournament, so you can't keep the players. It's not a FIFA date where you can keep the players like an international FIFA date where it's a women's calendar date where you can play friendlies like we are now, because it was from the 25th to the 7th of March. After that, it's the tournament dates, and if we don't hear anything, we can't keep players because clubs can recall their players. I know other countries have already recalled, clubs have already recalled their players. And some players haven't even flown to their countries because of the uncertainty. And it's not really fair. I'm just going to raise one question. Would this happen in the men's game?
Meanwhile, CAF's head of communication and TV, Noon Law September, has reiterated that CAF will communicate within the next 48 hours on the situation regarding the WAFCON. With just days remaining before kickoff, stakeholders across the continent will be hoping for swift confirmation that the tournament will proceed as scheduled or otherwise.
And so that was a report by my colleague Akosi Eje on the situation of the Women's African Cup of Nations as the tournament draws closer. Elsewhere, referees manager at the Ghana Football Association, Alex Corti, says his goal is to ensure that Ghanaian officiate a final at the World Cup. His comments come after Ghana's Daniel Aye took center stage in the semi-final tie between Morocco and Nigeria at the 2025 African Cup of Nations. And so we'll do well to bring you the voice of referee Alex Corti, the referees manager at the Ghana Football Association, in our subsequent bulletin. But in Europe, there's more games in the English Premier League because tonight Chelsea will travel to Villa Park to take on Aston Villa. And then there's also Brighton against Arsenal. Fulham would also square off against West Ham. And then Manchester City would also host Nottingham Forest. Newcastle would also host Manchester United at the St. James's Park. Let me just give you how the Premier League table is looking after 29 games for some teams and 28 for some teams. For Arsenal, they have played 29 matches and they are currently on 64 points, whereas second place Manchester City have played 28 games and are on 59 points. Manchester United, they are third in the standings after 28 games. They have 51 points, and then Aston Villa have also 51 points and they are fourth in the standings. Liverpool are fifth with 48 points, whereas Chelsea are set with 45 points, having played 28 matches, bringing an end to Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. Join us same time tomorrow for more updates in the world of news. My name is Andrew Sifa Bamfo.